I'm Alexander Surya, Johnny Mole on the right hand, Penguin Duck birthmark. So a lot of this, it's 12/18, August 21st. So a lot of these guys, a lot of this is about distractions and trying to distract people from what was going on in late, probably since 2011, but more so since late 2017 to the present, that they're trying to distract people from a lot of stuff in late 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020 is my theory. Um, and probably 2016. Granted, I didn't know anything in 2016. I knew very little late 2017, if not anything. And then 2018 still knew very little. Then late 2018, 2019 is when I started hearing more stuff about whatever was going on. But ever since I wrote that DOJ letter, these people have been, ever since I wrote it, they started trying to confuse me and confuse others. And this was this was 2019. And then they kept telling me stuff, but they started trying to confuse everyone for a while now because they claimed I'd figured stuff out too fast, as they put it. So they've been trying to distract everyone ever since and confuse the shit out of people. But a piece of their hustle is they have these different Illuminatis, as they call them. And they have this mini game or psychotic game, and then the real game. And the big game is what they call it, the real and the big game versus the mini and the psychotic game. And so they have all these little Illuminati people doing stuff, but those are distractions, a lot of them. Some may be hints as well of what's going on in the real world in the real game. Because I guess there's something going on with these games, and there's like some mini game, and it's like a map of the real game. And there's stuff that goes on in the mini game they call that actually occurs in reality. So that's a piece of it. But then there's also stuff that goes on in these mini games, and they use those to confuse people, and distract people from whatever they were doing originally, which was involving implantation and putting devices in people's brains with synthetic telepathy capabilities in order to harvest from people's brains via telepathy for espionage, economic espionage, financial crimes, and more. So they really want to distract people from that. So they may have these little groups of people pretending to be Illuminati, pretending to be mind melders, pretending to know how to implant, and creating all these distractions, pretending to be investigators, experts, and taking people down different paths and trails, while the real people are floating around implanting key targets, key people, etc., etc. So they got these little shitbags they're claiming are the experts, claiming are the real Illuminati, claiming are this or that, but they're really distractions. They're claiming to be expert investigators, and they're sending you down this path and that path and that path and up and down and all around. Um, but the real truth is, while you're trying to figure that out, the other guys may be still floating around and planting key targets, tying hands, recruiting people to certain investments, gambling rings, etc., setting them up for hand tying, etc. So pay attention to that, because I remember there's a piece of this like in late 2018. There were some kids in New York who went to SGU with me, and I'd see images of them in my mind. And I don't know if they're depicting stuff that was going on in reality, or if they're pretending to do stuff and pretending they were people while other stuff was going on in reality. So they were like the distraction for something going on in reality, while at the same time also telling people what was going on in reality, something of that nature. Not sure, but there was something of that, and that was going on. Even Dallas people were doing something of that nature too. So I'd look into that and get to the bottom of that, because stuff is becoming fuzzy now after 5 years and 6 months. But which isn't good, because they've also been doing neurosurgeries, witness tampering, and more. But that's a piece of it. A lot of it is distractions and distracting and trying to draw law enforcement's attention to those people while there's other stuff going on. And then it's also, though, these distractions are also a way of these guys telling people what's really going on somewhere else as well. So there's a piece of it. I don't know how that fits together, because it's like, they're distracting from these guys, but then at the same time they're giving away what those guys are doing, so it's kind of confusing. Don't get that part. So that's for someone else to analyze, because that confuses me. I may have it wrong, that's why. So I'm not 100% on it, but there's something of that nature. But I'd look into it. But they would actually fire images of people that I'd see in the mind's eye via the neural implant. A lot of weird shit was going on. But that's a piece of it. And then they also discuss this other game that you're supposed to find, and you use that as almost a map of stuff going on in reality. So that's another piece of this.